So I've started recording. So don't forget, get a sheet of paper, get a pen. If you have questions, you ask me question when I'm done with this. 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I should be done with it. The topic of today is network today. This is chapter 1. You remember I told you guys I'm going to take some chapters back to back. Some chapters I'm going to jump, and I will explain to you when we get to those chapters. And this is from experience also. You know, this CCNA is all about networking. And this is one of the things I always advise people to the foundation they should have before they go into other aspects in IT. I'm not talking programmers now. You want to go into cybersecurity. You want to go into cloud computing. This part is very important. If you don't do CCNA, I'm not saying you should write certification. If you don't do CCNA, you go into cloud computing, you go into cybersecurity, you're going to have some gaps in your career. You're going to have some issues. And how did I know this? I am CCNA, I'm in cybersecurity certified, cloud computing, I'm also certified. I conduct training for people in all of these aspects. And I've seen the gaps. Oh, somebody that has not done CCNA, we have problem here. Or let me say somebody that has not done basics of networking, we have problems here. So this is one of the most important foundations to anybody building career in IT. And you need to do your best to get it right. Even though this is not my preferred starting point for most of my own private students. My student, I tell them, start the journey of your career from Computer A+. And that's where they always start their career from. But for some people, they start from networking, which is not bad also. But then down the road, you may have issue one way or the other. Like when you say install printer, your computer is not working, you have some issue, you don't even have an idea of how to solve your problem, and it's just small problem, a simple problem. So that's why I always tell people to start from Computer A+. But this is not also very important. It's also good for anybody starting IT career. So if you are new in the system, or this is just like a refresher to you, I'm telling you, it's a class you are going to enjoy, because I pour in all my heart when I'm teaching my students. It's like I want to babysit my students. I want them to know it the way I know it, even though it takes time. And this is how you can get the best out of this. As soon as we're done with the class, we drop the video, get the video, go through it again. You have access to the curriculum, go through it again. So you need to understand. So we're going to be talking about networking. We're going to take it to advanced level, because this is CCNA. This is not A+, where we just teach the basis of networking. We're going to do a lot of practicals at this in CCNA level, even though that will be when we enter the second stage. So what do we have in this chapter? Networking today. So what is the big deal about network or networking? Generally, network affects our lives. Can you people imagine? I am in Nigeria here. On this platform, we have people from Kenya, from Mozambique, from Ethiopia, from South Africa, from all over African countries, even some outside of Africa. How come I'm able to teach and they are able to hear me? It is because of the network. It is the power of the network. No network, this communication cannot take place, guys. Let me give you another example. Most people are on TikTok. Most people are on Instagram. Most people are on Facebook. Most people are on, which one is there again? All of these social media platforms. And they are having fun. They are enjoying life. They are happy. They spend their time there. Those things you see, those applications you see, they will be nothing without the network. They will be nothing without the network. The reason why you can log in into TikTok on your phone, why you can log in into Instagram, why you can log into Facebook, why you can log into all kinds of social media there, or let's say you want to read news online, or let's say you want to do, like even Cisco that have their curriculum online. The only reason why this is possible is because of the networks. Networks is the backbone of all of these things you see. And I'm going to simplify this as we go. What you guys need to know is this. Most of these sites that you people go to, or let me say applications that you people use, they are just applications, or let me say social media platform. They are just applications on some servers. And you need the network to access those applications. That is why you need internet connection. And if you don't have internet connection, you don't have access to those applications. So what is the big deal about internet connection? Internet connection is just a network of networks. We're going to demystify all of this as we proceed. You see where the journey started from, how we expand the journey, and what became the internet today. Internet is just network of networks. We are connecting everybody all over the world. That is what we call internet. So this thing you are looking at on the screen right now, networks affect our lives. How? How did it affect our lives? It connects everybody together all over the world. It doesn't matter where you are. The network connects all of us together. It connects us together like never before. So when you talk about internet, think networks, guys. When you talk about internet, think networks. Internet is just networks of networks. Network of networks, interconnection of networks all over the world. That is what we call the internet. And it has become a major part of our lives. We cannot do without. Imagine a world without internet today. Let's go to the old school, to the past, when there was no internet. Take it out of our lives now. Oh, we will be miserable. We will feel the heat. So it's more or less like water, food, air, and shelter to us. It's part of basic necessity now to us. Because we do a lot on the internet. Now, as I'm talking right now, we're on WhatsApp also. I can send you guys message on WhatsApp. All of you will see it. The reason why you can see it is because you are connected to the internet. I'm connected to the internet. Meaning you are on the network. That's another way I like to put it. You are on the network. I am on the network. We have a global network where we are all connected together. That is why we can access that application and message ourselves. Take the internet out now. We cannot talk to ourselves. If internet is down on my hand, you people can't hear me. If internet is down on your hand, you cannot hear me. So when we say network connectors, basically this internet connection we're talking about is just networks. Just that it is network of networks, or you call it global networks. It's not just one person sitting in one corner's network. No, your network, my network, somebody's network, another person's network, all over the world, networks are connected together. And that is what we call the internet. So these networks of networks, which you call the internet, connect us together. That is why in the developed country right now, when they are building their infrastructure, one of the main things they consider as part of infrastructure is internet connection. The way they build power, the way they put roads, the way they make sure there is water, the way they try to provide shelter for the citizens, they make sure that they have a networks, or let me say infrastructure, that cut across the whole city or cut across the whole country, whereby you have affordable internet connection and accessible internet connection. Take notes, affordable and accessible. Because internet is now part of our lives. People school online, people do masters online, people do degree online. I am teaching you people now, I am online. All of this were made possible because of internet connection. And don't forget, I said, internet is just network of networks. Network of networks. That is what the internet connection is. Network of networks, or you call it a global network. A global network. That is our internet connection. So for you now, there is, by the time as we proceed in this training, there are some things that should change. I'm talking about your language now. The way you should talk about some things should change when you are talking to people, because you are in this class, because you are going through this training. That is the advantage of networks. It is from the networks they got internet connection. That's why we refer to internet as network of networks. Network of networks all over the world. So what are the things we stand to benefit from the internet or from network of networks? There's no boundary. It created a world without boundary. Internet connection gives us a world without boundary. network of networks gave us a world without boundary. It's like in the spirit. They said there is no distance in the spirit. If you believe in witchcraft, somebody can fly to America now, slap somebody in America and come back to the village. And the person will feel that somebody slapped him there. Because there's no distance. Those people fly anywhere, anyhow, anytime. It's the same thing with internet connection. There is no distance. Also, don't mind me. I crack jokes a lot in my class. I can't do without that. There is no distance in the spirit. And the same way in the field of IT. And that's one of the things I'm really enjoying about IT. I know people in Nigeria that work outside the country and they are being paid in dollars. I myself personally, you guys must have seen my website, my company's website or my YouTube channel. I have students all over the world. I have students in the UK, I have in Canada, I have in France, I have in US, I have in Cyprus, and I'm able to manage all of this, my students, give them support from Nigeria here, groom them, prep them for job interview, they're in the field, they're working, they're doing well. All of this because of network, a world without boundaries. A global community. I love this one name. Human network. Internet has created human network for us. Networks of networks has created human networks for us. And now we have not even we're just scratching the surface of internet too. You guys must have heard about Internet of Things. For those of you that have heard, if you have not heard about Internet of Things, that's another explosion about the internet. Where your fridge is part of the internet. You enter market, you can't remember what you have in the fridge. From the market, you enter the fridge. That's why I say there is no distance. You check your fridge. Oh, I have this, I have that, I need this, I need that one from the market. And you didn't go home just from your phone or from your tablet because the fridge is on the internet. Put it in another way, the fridge is on the network. Your car is on the network. Your house is on the network. Even your clothes. If you guys have heard about smart farming, you can imagine you are farming instead of just pouring fertilizer for all the plants there or pouring water. No, each of them will tell you the quantity they need. If they have too much water, they will tell you. If they need more water, they will tell you, because they all have sensors and they are part of the network. That is called Internet of Things. And all of this made possible by our infrastructure, by our network. And that is what I tell people when they're asking questions, which career should they enter into? I say, well, there is one career I know you can never miss. Till this world will come to an end, we will always need network. It's going nowhere. Because people's application must ride on top of the network. When I say people's application, I'm talking of like software. Take for instance now, if you guys go to www.facebook.com, this website, you are on a particular server, which is just a computer somewhere. And that server is running an application. When I say an application, a software that connected all of us that are on Facebook together. So when you go to www.facebook.com, you are in that server. Even though they have more than one, they have all over the world, but they mirror themselves. If I go into www.facebook.com, I'm in the server. Another person go, we're all in. So when we are all on Facebook, we are talking to ourselves. We are all in one machine. All different machines, but we are still connected on those machines together. So what I'm trying to say is, how did you access that server? If I am sitting down here in Nigeria, this is Roland here in Nigeria. I need network, which is my internet now, to travel all the way to that server, wherever the server is. So without that network, I cannot access the server. Even the server, wherever it's seated, needs to be connected to the internet. So if you cut off internet connection right now, you cannot go to facebook.com. Let's assume all the Facebook servers all around the world were done. They don't have internet connection. Those servers are not on the internet. We cannot access Facebook. So the internet is very important to them as well as it's important to us here. So what I said that to say this course or this career called networking, it will be here forever, because people must carry their application, whatever they do, on the network. That is the infrastructure of every other thing. Wired or wireless? When I say wired or wireless, meaning when you connect cables, you can connect cables physically, and you can also connect to the network spiritually. That is wireless. Either way, you are still connected. That infrastructure will be here forever. That's why networking is very important, guys. It's very important. So that's just a digression. So let's continue. So it creates a network without boundary. I mean, a world without boundary, a global community, and it also creates human network. That is what the internet gave to us. And don't forget, I keep on hammering this. Internet is just a network of networks. Without other people's network that we're all connected together or interconnected together, there is nothing called internet. But when all the networks all around the world are connected together, that's what we call internet. It's just network of networks. So networking today, we have a world without boundary, we have a global community, and we have human network. It connects everybody together. We don't have any boundary. No more boundary, guys. No more boundary. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. As long as you have internet access, you are connected to the world. You can travel all around the world. If you think you have never traveled out, you are in Nigeria, you are on your phone, you are in Google, you have traveled out too. Because that server you access maybe is in Germany. So you have traveled to Germany. You're on Facebook. Maybe that Facebook server is in Australia. You are in Australia already. Just that your body is still wherever it is. But what you are accessing is beyond beyond your location. And that is what we stand to gain from network. So I need to move, guys. So more things to talk about. So when you talk about network, what are the components we use to build the network? What are the components we use to build the network? I'm going to go back here because I need to write. When you want to build a network, what are the components you need to build a network? For instance, now, in my house, I have a small network. What I mean by a small network, a small local area network. We're going to talk more about this as we proceed. What are the things I need to build this local area network? What are the things I need to build a network in general? Number one, I need a device. When I say a device, it could be a big computer, it could be a laptop, it could be a tablet, it could be your phone. I need a device to connect to the network. It does not matter where you are in the world. If you don't have that device to connect to the network, there's nothing you can do about it. So when I say I need a device to connect to the network, it could be any of these things that I mentioned. We call them hosts or end devices. We call any of these as end devices. I need to connect to the network. Now, either of these things that I've mentioned, they will have what we call a network card. A network card. Now, this network card can be wired or wireless. For those of you that have plugged your computer to the network before, let's say this is my laptop now. There is a port on your laptop that where you connect the cable, you go and connect to the wall to get internet connection. That port on your laptop is what we call network interface card, NIC. It's also part of our component, network interface card. But you notice nowadays, modern day laptops don't have network cards for wired. They have for wireless. So when you open your laptop and you want to connect to the internet nowadays, like the laptop I'm using to teach you guys now, it doesn't have a network card wired. It has wireless. So what I just do is from this, my icon here, I will click the wireless option here. In fact, let me show you guys. I'll click the wireless. Look at what I have in this place. Look at the wireless option I have in this place. So I will just click and select my wireless connection. You see the name of my wireless network here is AWS. I'll connect to it. If I have the password, and then I'm in. Since I'm the owner, it gave me access. This is a router. It's a Ether router that I'm using to browse to teach you guys. That is also part of our network component. So the end device is a component, even though I don't like calling end device a component in the real world of component, but it's part of what is needed to build a network. The card is part of that device. And don't forget, the card can be wired or wireless. That card can be wired or wireless. So modern day laptops do not have wired network card. They have wireless. I'm going somewhere. So I have my laptop that has a network card inbuilt or external, it depends. What else do I need in order for me to connect to the network? If it is a wired network, we always need a device called a switch. What is a switch? We are going to come there again. It is a device that enables us to aggregate connection. What do I mean by that? Let's say now, this is my laptop now. I connect to this switch. Class rep also connect to this switch. Adolf also connect to this switch. Who else is there on the platform now? I can't remember. These are the names I can remember now. Let's say, okay, Oche also connects to the switch. Thank you. Oche also connects to the switch. What is the reason? Why are we connecting all of these guys to the switch? Because we want all of these computers to be able to talk to themselves. Blessing also connect to the switch. The essence of the switch is to aggregate connection. Wired, physical connection. That is the essence of the switch. We're going to talk more about that. That is the essence of the switch. It is to aggregate connection. And I'm going to take the journey back to let you see where the journey started from, because they didn't start the journey of this network device. We call this one network device from the switch. They started from a device called a repeater. I always like to go back and talk about this. Then they moved to a hub. Then they moved to a bridge. Then they now move to a switch. And this is the one that is popular and we use everywhere today. But all of these devices that are here, they are all devices that helps us to aggregate connection so that computers can talk to themselves when they are using wire. So my point is this repeater here is a network device. The hub here is a network device. The bridge here is a network device. The switch here is a network device. All of them are used to aggregate connection. When I say aggregate connection, we all want to talk to ourselves. So we need to connect to a device whereby we can use that device to reach ourselves. That is what these devices are used for. But let me take it a step backward. So what is the difference between all of these devices that I've put here? Let me erase this. Let's assume this device here. In fact, I need to clear this, guys. Let's say this is Roland. That's my laptop. I want to talk to us, class rep. These are two laptops want to talk to themselves. I have two options. Option number one, I can run a cable directly from my laptop and connect to a laptop. Physical connection. But what if Adolf is also there? Oche is also there. And they also want to be part of this conversation. We don't have more than one network card on our computer now. So how do we connect all of us together? That is why we need a device in between where all of us can connect to, and so that we can talk to ourselves. And at the early stage of networking, they started the journey with a device called a repeater. A repeater, in a sense, is an aggregator. It can aggregate, but it does not have plenty ports. But another reason why we use a repeater is this. If the distance between myself and the class rep is, let's say, 200 meters, the network cable we use cannot go beyond 100 meters. Please take note of this. This is Buko, theoretically. In the field, we do 200. We have a category of cable that runs 200 and we get away with it. But in the exam, don't quote me, say I talk 200, now 100 meters by standard. So if I want to talk to the class rep, and this cable that we use to network ourselves together cannot go beyond 100 meters. And this time Samuel is laughing, don't mind me. The distance between the two of us is about 200 meters. I can put a repeater between the two of us. So from me to the repeater is 100 meters. From the repeater to class rep is 100 meters. So what have I done? We've used the repeater to break the limitation of 100 meters. And you know what will happen? When my message gets to the repeater and it's getting tired, the repeater picks the message and regenerates the signal strength and then forward it to the class rep as if the data is just starting that journey. That was the reason why they were using a repeater. So it is to aggregate connection and then also to do what? To regenerate signal strength. to break the limitation of 200 meters. But guys, repeater has limitation. It does not have plenty ports for connection. So they came out with another device called a hub. A hub is just a multi-port repeater. A hub is just a multi-port repeater. Take note, multi-port repeater. So a hub is also a repeater. It just has plenty ports. Now, some people will tell you that a hub, the maximum number of ports for a repeater is just 4. Some will say 8. But let's just stay with 4. But if you're a hub, you can have 12 ports. For a hub, you can have 12 ports. So both our repeater and the hub, they belong to the same category, just as the difference is in the hub. They can help us to regenerate signal strength. But there is a problem here, guys. Both this repeater and this hub are not smart. What I mean by that? If I have a message for the class rep and I send the message to the repeater or the hub will regenerate, will replicate the message and make noise or make announcement. Hello, everybody on this network. I have a message for somebody called OSI or OC. If it is yours, pick the message. If you send a copy to the class rep, send a copy to Adolf, send a copy to Uche, any other person on that device, everybody will get a copy. So we are banking on your goodness not to harm us by that message and pick a copy for yourself and say, oh, it's not mine, you decline. It's not mine, you decline. In today, in the world of security, where we're talking about security, if the bad guys connect to your hub and you just bless them with a free message like that, they will pray for you. They wouldn't have to struggle because you put the hub on your network. You put the hub on your network because the hub does not know how to make decisions. It forwards the message to everybody. And so the people that came up with this networking stuff, they say, Kai, this doesn't make sense. We need to improve on this. And that was why they came up with a bridge. They came up with a bridge. What is a bridge? A bridge is another network device, but it's smart. It can make decisions. They came up with a bridge. So the bridge has something called MAC address table. I'm going to demonstrate all of these things to you guys when we get there. It will record where Roland is, where Adolf is, where class rep is, where Uche is, on all the ports with their MAC addresses. What is called MAC addresses, we are going to talk about that when we get there too. The bridge will, I know where the class rep is now. So when I send a message to the class rep, the bridge will check the MAC address table and say, oh, this is meant for the class rep. To forward the message to the class rep. Adolf has no idea that I'm communicating with class rep. Uche has no idea that I'm communicating with the class rep. That was what saved the day. And then they stopped using hub and repeater. So if you see anybody still using hub in today's world, there was a time many years ago, I went to help to solve a problem on somebody's network and I saw a hub there. You have to beg them to remove that device from the network because that is in this century. Somebody is still using a hub, 21st century. I can't understand that. Knowing fully the way that thing works. So the people that came up with bridge, they saw that this is a good improvement. This is working. But then another limitation. The bridge also has small number of ports. Some people said maximum of 4. Then they came up with a switch. And that is where we are up to today. A switch is a layer 2 device. I'm going to demystify that when we get to what I mean by that. It helps us to aggregate connection. It's very smart. It can make decisions. And what will tell you that a device can make decisions, it simply means it knows where you are located. And there's a point it's going to learn that, not immediately. So once it gets to know where class rep is, where Uche is, where Adolf is, where Roland is, any communication through that switch, it will just drop the message for you straight. It will not replicate and send to everybody. So all of these devices that I have mentioned, they are network devices. They are part of our network components. when we are building the network. Another device that is really, really popular, which we are going to talk about later, is your router. A router is a device that connects people from different networks together. When I say different networks, it's like different family. And we have thousands and thousands and thousands of these routers on the internet, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of networks on the internet. So my network, your network, somebody's network, everybody's network, we use routers to interconnect all of this network together. Then when we are building a network locally in our house, in our organization, in our office, we use a switch. It's like, this is how we build a family. We connect everybody to the switch. That's how we build the family. But in case our family needs to now talk to other family out there, we need a router to talk to another family out there. That is the way we make use of all of these devices. I'm just summarizing. I'm going to still go to what is in the PowerPoint. So you see, I'm not comfortable summarizing them this way. So you're going to see. So we use all of these devices. And this is what this training is all about. Routing and switching. The whole of CCNA is about routing and switching. Guys, when we get to CCNA 2, I am going to teach you switching tired. When we get to CCNA 3, in fact, before we enter CCNA 3, I am going to teach you routing tired. And this is what forms the backbone of CCNA, routing and switching. So we'll talk about switch, how to build the network with a switch, and the kind of things we can use to do on the network. You know, this thing is all about you being able to command these devices to stand and dance for you. Tell them how you want them to dance. For instance, now, I like talking about this. Let's say this is a switch right now. There is a port on the switch. Let's say F0/10. I configure this port for class rep. It belongs to her. If she's not in the office, if you plug a computer, you are not going to browse the internet. Why? I have locked it down for class rep. And it's part of switching, even with security on the switch. We call it port security. So there are a lot of stuff we can do on our switch. And these are all the things we are going to be learning as we proceed. But we're still talking about networking components. Another device that we use a lot these days, because the switch is going away gradually, guys, is what we call our access point. If you don't know access point, anytime you go to an environment and you see wireless signal, the thing that is sending you that signal is called an access point. So if I need to connect myself, Uchi, class rep, and Adolf, do we really need to plug cables? No, I can just drop access point somewhere, inject internet connection into that access point if we need internet connection, make sure that the access point is powered somewhere, and then I connect wirelessly or spiritually. I connect Uchi, connect class rep, connect, everybody connects wirelessly. Let me put maybe ... And guess what? We've connected together. We can share resources between ourselves. Now I'm using a device called access point, and this one is very popular these days. People don't use cable again. That's why networks and laptops don't have network cards again. Who wants to keep on drawing cable? You can imagine it's like in those days when before mobile phone came around, you now have a landline. If you need to pick it to get a message or a call, if your father does not have phone, you go and sit down in somebody's house. That's how we do it in Nigeria. I don't know in other parts of the world. You go and sit down in somebody's house, but you'll give it at maybe 2 p.m. So you sit down for maybe 1 o'clock because it's landline. You can't move around with it. You can't go home with it. You can't do anything with it. It's locked down with cable. Nobody wants to do that again. Now we have mobile phone. Anywhere you go to, your phone moves around with you. Except, of course, most of the time, women, their phone should be landline because they don't move around with their phone. You can't ask questions, please. I've mentioned that when we started. Jot your questions down. When I'm done, you ask. Women's phone should be landline because you call them tired, they will not pick the call. Pastor Rep, I hope I'm not indicting you. So sometimes I tell my wife, this is mobile phone, not landline. You should move around with this thing. Okay, guys, so let me move on. So those are some of the ones I just wanted to talk about briefly before we proceed. So when you hear network components, they're simply talking about things that can help us to build a network or to have a network. To have a network. So look at one here. This is a server here. And please, when you hear server, just know that server is just a computer. with special purpose CPU, RAM, and storage. When I say special purpose, if you are talking about maybe your computer is 4 cores, 8 cores, this thing could be like 40 cores. If your regular RAM in your laptop is 8 gig, maybe 16 gig or 32 gig, this one can be maybe 200 gig. That's just what a server is. Because some people don't understand these things. So why do we need that kind of capacity? Because it's serving the whole world. It's not like your regular kind of computer that's meant for you. That machine is responding to requests from all over the world. You are pulling the resources there. Me, I'm pulling resources. Somebody, another person is pulling resources. Everybody, people all around the world are making requests. Because every time you access the application on that server, you are placing demand on the hardware resources. So the thing needs to be loaded. It needs to be loaded. So you see the client is connected to the internet, regardless of the way you connect. The server is also on the internet. And every computer on the internet, I told you, they are called a host. Look at it here. Or end device. And this server you are looking at here, it could be email server. Guys, when you hear email server, what does that mean? Anytime you send mail, you receive mail. The server that is responding to you is an email server. Anytime you're on the internet, you can browse a particular website, click multiple pages. The server that is responsible to you, or let me say the service, is a web service, email service. Anytime you are downloading something or uploading something, the service that is responsible to you, it's a file service. So there are servers that have all of these applications installed. So what is the job of client? Basically, what the client did is just to send for information. Let's say this is Facebook application is here now, and you want to browse Facebook. What do? You launch your browser, and you now say www.facebook.com. What are you doing? You are sending a request to the server to retrieve information. And if you are truly connected to the internet, bam, the page will open. Then you begin to see your friends. You log in, you begin to see your friends. You begin to see all the messages they posted. You also post, you also add comment, and all of those kind of things. That is the way it works. So anytime you go to a website, just know that you are sitting down inside a server somewhere. Anytime you are sitting down in a server somewhere in the world. Every simple application, even your banking app. Oh yes, your banking application. Let's say you want to do internet banking right now. You now say www.gtbank.com. That's for those of you that know gtbank.com. By the time you enter into this website, you are sitting down in a server somewhere that houses that application. And the moment it gives you that page, you log in, then you begin to access your account details. So for you to even do internet banking, you need internet connection. And this internet connection is just about network of networks. Take note of that, please. So the clients are the ones that place requests on the server. Of course, the servers are the ones serving us. Every website you go to anywhere in the world, there is a server that responds to you. Those applications you're accessing, they are not standing alone. No. They are not standing just like that. They were installed on some machines, on some computers out there. And let me read this to you. Servers are computers that provide information to end devices. See that? Servers are computers. So they are computers too, guys. They provide information to end devices. What kind of information? It depends on the application that is running on the server. It depends. If the server is meant to send email, that's what you will get. If the server is just a web server, you only get website information. If it is a file server, you get file. If it is serving anything that has been installed on that server, that is what is going to dish out to you. If it is a gaming server, you go and play game there. Whatever is on the server, when you log in, any application that is there, that is what you can access. So take note of that. So how do you access the server? Or how do you talk to? So you are connected to the internet. How are you connected to the internet? Definitely, you must have a network that connects you to the internet. You must find a way to connect to the internet. Most people use hotspot on their phone. But how do you get that internet connection to your phone? You connect to the GSM through the cellular network. You buy data. So those people that gave you internet connection, how did they get internet connection on their own network? They also bought it from a particular service provider and injected it into their own network. Guys, let me tell you this. Back in those days, all these MTN, Airtel, Glo, they did not have any business with internet connection. All we were doing with them in those days is just to make calls, just voice. They were just voice network. They have no business. They had no business with data before. Just for us to make calls. But down the road, those guys injected internet connection into their infrastructure, bought it from a service provider, injected it into their infrastructure. And then since they already have the infrastructure, then they can now send data, they can now sell data to you, and then you can begin to browse through them. That is just one way. There are other ways. You need to understand that. So please keep on jotting your questions, and we'll soon give you room for questions now. So I've talked about hand devices. They are your computers, they are your tablet, your phone, your even then they say a phone call, voice over IP phone. That is a phone we used to make calls on the network without paying. You don't pay, you're just using the network infrastructure to make calls. It's like intercom, but this one uses network. It's like intercoms. So these are all end devices. They also call server end devices, but in reality, because it's a computer, you can call server end device, but in reality, your server is not supposed to be an end device. So, based on the definition, look at what he said here. I like this too. An end device is where a message originates from or where it is received. That's why the server qualified for that. An end device is where a message originates from or where it is received. Data originates with an end device. It passes through the network and must land somewhere else, on another end device somewhere. And a lot can be in between. And those are our components, like your switches, your routers, your access points. All of these things can be in between to connect you to the network and to help your data or your message to get to the destination. Take note of this. So I've talked about these devices. So another way to call all of these network devices, they call them intermediary devices. They sit in between. Because you must just find a way to connect your device to the internet, to the network. I don't want to be saying internet now. When I say network, you don't understand what I mean. Eventually, you're going to connect to the internet because the internet is a network of networks. You must just find a way to connect to the network. And these are the ways. You can connect wired or wirelessly. Access point connect you wirelessly. A switch connects you through wire. And router helps you to carry the destination from one source to another. You must just connect one way or the other. So these are all the devices that we have in between. They call them, another way they refer to them, they are intermediary network devices. So your switches, your access points, your routers, and the last on the list that I didn't mention is your firewall, a wall of fire to protect you from the bad guys on the internet. And most organizations don't have this. That's why they're always getting hacked or getting infected. So you need all of these devices, guys. And sometimes all of these devices are bundled together in one box. They are called integrated router. I'm going to show you when we get there. Like my GSM router. It's a router. It's a switch. It's an access point. And it's also a firewall. The basic firewall, not a serious firewall. There's some firewall functionality. This is my GSM router. So when you go out there to buy a GSM router, as long as there are ports on that device where you can plug computer, that's what makes that device a switch. As long as that thing can also send the wireless signal, that's what makes it an access point. As long as it can give you internet connection and connect you to other routers on the internet, that's what makes it a router. And as long as you can activate some security feature on that your GSM router, that makes it a firewall. And this is why we call this one integrated device or integrated router. For home use, guys, home use, take note. If it is organization, you don't, this is not advisable. We use dedicated switch, dedicated router, dedicated firewall, dedicated access point for organization. But if it's for home use, what do you need all of dedicated stuff for? You don't need them. So what's the job of these devices? I've talked about them earlier. They help you to regenerate signal strength, to retransmit data signal. They help you to maintain, they take information from one device to another device, from source to destination. And if there are any errors or communication failure, they notify or they correct along the line. Some of the devices, we're still going to talk about some of those things. Yeah, for some of you that have, you want to ask question, don't worry, I'll soon give room for question. Just like I said, we're still building momentum in this class. It's not going to be 2 hours straight. We'll start with maybe 1 hour, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Then we're going to build momentum as we proceed. So don't worry, I'll soon give room for question. I think this is where I will stop today. So this is another part of network components, network media. Anytime you talk about media, what comes to your mind? Connection. Connection. How do you connect your device, end device, to the network? It can be through wired, as I've said earlier. Wired. And wire can be in terms of copper, that NEMA cable that you people know, or fiber optics. Fiber optics. Or wireless, or spiritual. That spiritual connection. You don't see anything, but you are still connected. That is Wi-Fi. So we'll have another class where we're going to talk more about this copper. So just look at copper here. This one is very popular to you guys. It uses electric impulses. Look at fiber optics here. It uses lights. And of course, our wireless signal. Once you see antenna, you know this is wireless. These are different means you can connect to the network. There must always be one way to connect. You must choose one. And the most popular out there for end devices now is wireless. Wireless. Everybody is building a wireless network all over. People don't want to build wired network again because it's faster. It's very fast for you to build a wireless network, and people don't want to be seeing cables flying all around everywhere. No, give me a wireless connection. My phone, or my tablet, or my laptop, everywhere. Give me wireless connection. And the reason why people were not building wireless connection, why it was not encouraged in those days, is because of security. Because if I need to hack into your wireless network, I don't need to enter your compound. I can stay beside your fence. Once I see the wireless signal, connect to it and begin to do damage to you. But if you are using wired, I have to enter your compound and connect to your network. So you see the disadvantage. But nowadays, the security of wireless is now becoming sophisticated. So people are kind of getting relaxed in building wireless network. So we are still going to come to this media, talk more about media. Who is sharing content there? Rosemary, what's going on there? Rosemary, what are you clicking there? You just log me out now. I don't even know how you have the access.